Hello aspirants, looking at editorials in question bank for 7th December. The only editorial in the Hindu newspaper was on Jayalalitha 1948 to 2016. She died recently. So she belonged to AIADMK. She had become chief minister for the first time in 1991 and continued. She had become the chief minister quite often later. So what policies she had initiated, pro-poor policies, they are appreciated. The Amma brand we have already seen in news as well. She had supported the government from outside, Congress government led by PV Narasimha Rao earlier, and later even the BJP government. So that is also known. The Kaveri water dispute, also the government stands strongly for the people of Tamil Nadu, is also one aspect. Then the DMK, the rival political party in Tamil Nadu, there were charges of corruption against them, because of which even the AIADMK have benefited. So all these aspects are covered. So she withdrew support to the BJP government. That was the time when she had demanded that the DMK government in the state then should be dismissed, but the BJP government refused to go against the Bommai judgment, which is there on imposition of Article 356. So Article 356 in the Constitution is regarding President's rule. So there are preconditions, certain norms which have to be followed when Article 356 can be imposed. So Supreme Court has given its complete judgment and guidelines. So it cannot be on political criteria that governments just displace or dismiss state governments. So that was there. So even the Lok Sabha prematurely dissolved in 1999 because BJP then did not have sufficient support, and the outside support was also withdrawn by Jayalalitha. So this is there. Then she was unseated twice. In 2001 by the Supreme Court, she could not continue as the chief minister because there were charges of disproportionate assets against her. There was case going on. So election also, she was disqualified from contesting elections, but then she got back on her feet again. So that is covered, nothing much of significance from exam perspective. Now the chief minister appointed post Jayalalitha is O. Pannirselvam. Then again in the Indian Express too, an editorial on Jayalalitha has come forth. Same thing, it's talking about how she was a single woman who in an intensely patriarchal world of cinema and politics proved to be a winner. So that is highlighted. She was autocratic and whimsical, are the terms the editorial uses. There were several corruption scandals against her, but still she continued to survive. She single-handedly led AIADMK to office 4 times. So she had become chief minister 4 times. She played kingmaker in Delhi, as we saw in the Hindu editorial. So that is there. So these aspects are covered, and then finally it speaks about the brand Amma, in which she gave many commodities at subsidized rates, from healthcare, salt, cement, saris, Wi-Fi, subsidized cinema, marriage halls, brand Amma. So this is how she lived in the memories of the people post her demise. So this we have already discussed in news. Then the next editorial in the Indian Express newspaper is after the toppling. This is regarding INS Betwa, the 4,000-ton Brahmaputra class missile carrier, guided missile carrier, Navy's frigate, that is missile frigate, that is warship. So this was undergoing a routine refitting at Mumbai dockyard, and while undocking after the refit, it underwent some casualty and it resulted in the ship toppling. 2 sailors on it died too. Many are injured as well. So this accident, the Navy ship is still toppled because we don't have the sufficient strength crane capabilities to pick it up. So there are professional salvors who are being called from foreign countries to assess the extent of the damage and also to salvage this 600 crore ship. So such accidents, why do such accidents take place? So Indian Navy has faced such accidents multiple times earlier too. So there is a need to have a proper assessment. If the infrastructure and the equipments are not up to the mark, then they have to be upgraded, and not just who is responsible as a person. So just finding a scapegoat and finishing off the inquiry, that should not be the process initiated. So of course the inquiry has been initiated. So we'll see what was the reason for this failure. So this was the dog blocks mechanism which failed. We have already discussed this in the news, so you can go through that too. So the point now put forth is that INS Betwa was commissioned in 2004 into service, and Navy has developed indigenous capability, so it has the confidence that it can bring it back on its foot as well. But then the other two defense services, the army and the army and the air forces, they have not initiated much. So Make in India in defense, which the present government has given impetus to, that requires that other sectors of the armed forces, also other sections of the armed forces, also take initiative on this matter. And of course, such incidences should not disgrace the Indian forces. So the next editorial in the Indian Express newspaper is The Ghost of History. Again, this we have covered in news. This is regarding the December 1941 Pearl Harbor attack by the Japanese forces on the US naval base on Hawaiian Island. So this Hawaii Island attack, which resulted in casualties, many ships were sunk to, which later the US retaliated with the nuclear bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So this is it was in 1941. So now in 2016, December 2016, it has completed 75 years. The editorial also says that this act of Japan resulted in America being pulled into the World War II, and they later developing nuclear weapons and also claiming its position as one of the superpowers in the world. So this is there. Now presently, of course, the President of USA, Barack Obama, visited Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So this was the first visit by a president in office in USA visiting Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Of course, he did not put forth an apology, but a visit is also, and paying homage to these victims was one initiative taken. Even presently, Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe will be the first Japanese Prime Minister to visit Pearl Harbor now. So this is going to happen in December. So he will seek for the console of the souls of the victims of this Pearl Harbor attack. So this showcases the power of reconciliation that has turned former adversaries into closest allies. So now Japan and USA, of course, are allies. So Japan also post it surrendered, it came under the US. Even the constitution of Japan presently is under US supervision, that it was finalized. So it has no belligerent activity allowed. So it cannot be aggressive nation. So it also has armed forces are allowed only for defense capabilities, not for offenses. Means not an attack as such. So these initial developments took place in Japan, and US and Japan are close allies now. So now with the new president being elected, Donald Trump, there are indications that the relations between Japan and USA may change too. So to make sure to seal these ties, Japanese Prime Minister is also taking an initiative. Also with China, they have a problem. So China presently is dominating in the South China Sea. So Japan is also a nation in the region. So it has to be alert about these initiatives of China as well. So those aspects are also there, the geopolitical relations. So we'll have to wait and watch what Donald Trump goes ahead, and how he maintains his relations with both China and Japan. So that is about the editorials. Next we look at the question bank. The first question which we have put forth is, recently Indian Navy decided not to induct the indigenous Tejas fighter aircraft. Discuss how the defense forces go about buying aircraft and other equipments. Why did the Navy decide not to induct the Tejas aircraft? So defense procurement procedure which is there is, first they have to give service quality requirements, that what are the requirements of the forces. So each of them will give their service quality requirements. Then the second step is categorization. So categorization about how these items can be procured is done. Then there is an acceptance of necessity by the competent authority of the request of these armed forces. So once acceptance of necessity has taken place, then a request for proposal is put forth, and all eligible firms come forth and bid for the equipment, that they can provide the equipment. So these are the steps in defense procurement. Now these service quality requirements are essential. These are the first steps through which the armed forces initiate this process. So the quality requirements, if it is in Make in India category, then it is also having this requirement of preliminary SQR. So preliminary service quality requirement is put forth, then later it is finalized. So this for Tejas, the preliminary quality requirement which the Navy put forth was that it wanted a, which it was not for Tejas as such, but the Navy's requirement was that they wanted carrier capability. So aircraft carrier means naval ships which can carry aircraft, from which aircrafts can take off and land as well. So this Russian MiG-29 fighters presently which the Navy operates, this is can have the capability of carrier capability in the INS Vikramaditya. So INS Vikramaditya is the aircraft carrier, the naval ship which carries this, through which this Russian MiG-29 fighters operate. Now even India is developing its own indigenous aircraft too, but then indigenous aircraft carrier is Vikrant. So INS Vikramaditya and one more would be ISC Vikrant, indigenous aircraft carrier. So both these are aircraft carriers, and the present fighters are Russian MiG-29, but this Russian MiG-29 would retire. So the government wants an alternative, the armed forces want an alternative to this. So if they use LCA, the light combat aircraft Tejas instead of Russian MiG-29, then the carrier capability requirement of the Navy will not be fulfilled, because the LCA Tejas's engine is underpowered, so it does not allow it to fly from a carrier. So this is the aspect on the basis of which Tejas was rejected by the Navy. So this is regarding the entire development of Tejas 2, how the LCA project initiated, and it was actually to replace MiG-21s. So it was initiated in 1983. So more than 30 years ago now. So this 2001 was when the first prototype came. Then it underwent clearances for testing and clearances. Then it was ready to induct only in 2015. So 2016 also the squadrons were raised, and finally now in 2018 improved Tejas can be inducted too. So this is regarding the Tejas aircraft, light combat aircraft. So the government is developing further more powerful engine Tejas also, Tejas Mark II, which has been planned. So all that is also there. Further developments will also take place. It has mid-air refueling capabilities. Tejas Mark I has also been developed. So this is Tejas. Next, the question is, the tracking of various national health and nutrition indicators in India need to be improved. Elaborate. So the health and nutrition indicators in India under the MDGs and SDGs are being evaluated. MDGs, Millennium Development Goals, and SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. So Millennium Development Goals were put forth in the year 2000 by United Nations, and this were the 8 major goals which had to be achieved in 15 years. So by 2050. So like eradicate extreme poverty and hunger, education, women, child mortality, maternal mortality, diseases, environment, and global partnership for development. So these were the 8 major goals under MDGs. So after 2015, India fared poorly on health indicators. So there was a need to improve this. So health indicators are these child, maternal, and the diseases related. So now we need to make improvements on this, and post 2015 then the United Nations had put forth Sustainable Development Goals. So this is till next 15 years, 2030 agenda, Sustainable Development. So these are called MDGs, Millennium, and this is Sustainable, SDGs. So under SDGs too, now there is further elaboration of goals and sub-goals under it. There are sub-targets as well. So this is much more elaborated than MDGs. Again, you can see no poverty, no hunger. So education, environment also is there. So all aspects are covered, gender equality, sustainable cities, infrastructure related. Then environment related, you can see climate action, life below water, life on land, and of course partnership aspects are also covered. So all these are there. What we need to improve on is on health. So good health and well-being, all these aspects have to be improved on. So now what we see is that the health indicators which are used to track our health developments are not up to the mark, because what we do is samples are taken and the development is targeted. So if with such sample data, not having a comprehensive data, we cannot get clear indicators and then make further development, so that by 2030 we fare much better on SDGs and not like the poor ratings which we got in MDGs for health aspect. Also under Global Hunger Index, India ranks 97th amongst 118 countries. So that is also a very low ranking which we have. So we need to improve on these aspects. You can look at the latest Global Hunger Index too. So India's rank is 97th. First is Argentina. So we rank even below Bangladesh. So China is much higher. China, Iran, Nigeria is much higher. So we need to work on these aspects as well. So to ensure that we can achieve our goals, we need better data enumeration, as I said. So for that, what is required is a clear plan of development and then proper data collection. So Niti Aayog and other government agencies which are presently in the process of preparing a 15-year vision, a 7-year strategy and a 3-year action plan will also define the development trajectory of the country. So that will also be useful in aligning our goals with MDGs and with SDGs specifically presently. So now looking at the health related aspects, of course India has high burden of both communicable and non-communicable diseases. Overweight, obesity affects Indian population. Even it was in 2015-16 National Family Health Survey, it was seen that overweight men and women outnumber the underweight. So we have the double burden of undernutrition as well as overnutrition which we are seeing. So both have to be addressed. So for that, how to improve the health and nutrition targets, some suggestions have been put forth by this think tank. So we'll see them. So it says first we should have the latest data. So first thing that needs to be done is that sample registration and surveys which are done are inadequate. So they do not give a complete coverage. So that civil registration system under which only sample data, means a sample of the population is targeted and questioned, that should not take place, but rather better targeting. Target achieved, like some states and union territories have achieved the target of 90% in both birth and death registration. So these aspects are also important, that complete coverage is there so that a clear data and analysis can come forth. Then second is sample surveys that collect data at the national level should be assessed for their comprehensiveness and better streamlining. So what kind of sample space is used and who are targeted, so it can give a better comprehensive coverage. So that has to be understood and streamlined. So sample population should be such that it is representative of the entire population. So that point is highlighted. Third, it says that there is National Management Information System, National Health Management Information System. So this information system needs reforms because it takes into consideration only public sector health sector. So only public health sector will not give a comprehensive viewpoint of the entire country. So as we have done for district information system for education, so this MIS, these are management information systems, computerized databases. So these, the way they have incorporated public and private sector, same way even health management information system should also integrate public and private sectors so that a comprehensive information database can be formed and then it becomes more relevant. So that is there. Then finally it says that there needs to be set up a national forum on health and nutrition statistics. So this forum can comprise of all central government agencies and ministries which are presently involved in collecting, storing, analyzing and distributing different sets of health and nutrition data. So all should come together under one national forum. So this will bring in better coordination and collaboration and more consistency in the collection and reporting of health and nutrition data. So these are 4 viewpoints put forth on this aspect. So that is it. These were the questions for today. Thank you.